All right, to make our paper lizards, we're gonna start with a large piece of paper. You'll get to pick your color, whichever you want to do. And we're going to fold that paper in half, hot dog style. All right, so I line up my edges first. And then I'm gonna press my crease. And make sure it's creased really well. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a big ruler and I'm gonna line it up from corner to corner in a diagonal line. So if it's like this, that's not right. If it's like this, that's not right. I need it to touch this corner and the bottom corner. So I'm gonna make sure that I line it up so that it's touching both corners. When it lines up correctly, I'm going to hold my hand in the middle of the ruler like this. If I hold it up here, it's gonna move. If I hold it down here, it's going to move. So I'm gonna hold firmly in the middle and I'm gonna make a line. It goes from one corner to the other. All right. Then I can take my scissors and I'm gonna go ahead and cut on that line. All right, once I got it cut out, these two pieces here, those are scrap paper. We're gonna put them in a scrap paper basket. I'm gonna go ahead and get them out. Your lizard is gonna be this guy right here, the big triangle we just made, okay? So the two little pieces, you get rid of those. Big one is your lizard. So before we do anything else, we are going to add some patterns to add some visual interest to our lizard. So a pattern is anything that repeats. So I could do zigzag lines. I can do polka dots. I'm just gonna add some patterns. I'll start at the bottom and I'll work my way up. All right, once you've made your patterns, or while you're making your patterns actually, Miss Santellen is going to come by and do some folding for you. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna fold it into the middle. This is just a little bit too complicated for y'all. So while y'all are working on your patterns, I'm gonna come by and put these folds into your paper for you. Okay, once I put those folds into your paper, you can kind of see this will turn into your lizard's body. Not quite ready yet. There's a few more things we have to do. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold it so that it's directly in half, okay? So it's folded in half. And you can see my fold line from earlier. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut on the folded part all the way to the line and stop. This is what's gonna give my lizard flexibility to bend and move. This is very important. You cannot cut it on the side that opens. So this is the open side. This is the folded side. You have to make sure that you're on the folded side. If you cut on the open side, this won't work and you will have to redo it. So making sure that I'm on the folded side, I'm gonna come down and I'm gonna cut right to or even a little bit past that fold line, okay? So I'm just gonna do cuts all the way down my lizard. Now I want you to see what happens if I stop too short. So on those two cuts, I stopped short. I didn't go all the way to the fold. So when I fold my little lizard guy up, if I want him to be flexible and bend, I have to go all the way to the fold, because if I'm not, see, this will bend nice and fun, and this will not. So I gotta make sure that my cuts go all the way to the fold. So if your lizard is not bending on every single cut, it's because you didn't go far enough. So you're gonna have to go down and make sure that you are stopping all the way on the line. I'm gonna flip this over so it's easier to cut. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just going to make cuts all the way down to the end of my tail. All right, so I'm right here at the end of my tail. This is where I wanna be really careful, because my lines are gonna start getting closer together. So I gotta be really careful not to chop off the end of my little lizard's tail. So I've done all my cuts, and you can see what happens. So I start up here. The further down my lizard's tail I go, what's happening to the length of my lines? You should have said they're getting shorter, okay? So now I'm ready to fold up my lizard and test him out. So I'm just gonna kind of fold this together so it makes a triangle, the paper. Fold it all in there. And I'm gonna do a test. If he can go up and down like this and your paper goes back and forth and there's no resistance, you've done it correctly. So what you're gonna do once you're sure that you've done it correctly is we're going to glue him together. Okay, now we're ready to glue this guy's body together. So I'm gonna go ahead and open him up, and on one of the flaps where there is not scissor cuts, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna put glue. So I'm putting it on thin, but I'm spreading it across the entire flap. So I don't want any globs, but I do want it to cover the entire space there. Now, oops, I'm gonna take my other flap, I'm gonna fold it over on top, and I'm gonna start to press it down. I like to flip him over so that he's sitting upright on the table. I can actually stick my hand inside to press down, and I can kind of push his sides a little bit. It will take a minute for the glue to set. So what I want you to do is I want you to sit here and I want you to count to at least 30 before you try and move him. Okay, so go ahead and count on your own. The very last thing we're gonna do to get our body all ready is, you see how I've got these two little pieces of paper that stick up there? I don't want those. I'm gonna take a pair of scissors and I'm gonna cut them straight across so I've got a nice even triangle all the way across. And my lizard's body is all done. Okay guys, for this next part, you are literally going to follow along with me. The very first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna pick 2 pieces of the square paper. The pieces have to be the same color. They have to match. So I'm gonna give you a chance to go ahead and do that. All right, once you've got your 2 pieces of paper, you're gonna follow along with me. We're gonna take one and we're gonna fold it in half to make a triangle. So we're gonna make the corners touch. So once I get my corners lined up, I can press the fold here. Okay, so I've got a triangle. I'm going to open it up and now do it the other direction. So I already folded it this way. Now I'm going to fold it this way. So you should have an X from where you folded. Just go ahead and do that. Okay, once you've done that, we're going to do the same thing to the other piece of paper. Fold it on the corner, make a triangle. One, and then open it up and then fold the other way. So you should have two pieces of paper with a big X in the middle of them. Once you've done that, we're going to take our pair of scissors and we're going to cut one line of the X. So from the corner, and then I'm going to stop in the middle. And then I stop in the middle, so it looks like this. That's all. I don't cut anything else, just that. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. Okay, so I've cut to the middle on both sides. Now what's going to happen is these are going to fold in and make a little pyramid shape. So what I want to do is on one of the sides that I cut, I'm going to put some glue, not a lot, just enough to make it stick. I'm going to fold it in on itself, and I'm going to hold that down. Okay. I'm going to have to hold for a few seconds here. You should be holding with me. Okay. Once it's generally set, I'm going to come and I'm going to do the other one. So on one of the flaps that you cut, we're going to apply the glue, not real thick. I'm actually touching the tip of my glue bottle on the paper so I don't get big old globs. And then I'm going to fold it in to make that triangle. I'm going to hold it down for a minute. You should be holding with me. Okay, once it's decently set, this is going to become the mouth of our lizard. We do have to attach them together. The way that we're going to do that, though, is with some tape. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull your masking tape so that you've got a piece that's about as long as your mouth. And we are going to stick our masking tape on one side of the back of our mouth. So this is the side that I glued down. That's the back. Now notice my tape is hanging off. I did not put it so that it completely covered the back. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take this one and we're going to stick it down on top. I'm going to press my tape back there. Now what this does is it allows me to have a mouth that opens and closes. It's three-dimensional. So this will become our lizard's head. Alright, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make eyes and a tongue to add to my head I've made. You can do the eyes however you want. Just going to take a Sharpie marker. Draw the outside, draw the inside. And color them in. Okay. Same thing when I do my lizard's tongue. I'm going to get a long piece of red paper. When I draw it, my lizard has a split tongue. That's how reptiles' tongues are, so I'm going to go ahead and draw it that way. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. You don't need to watch me cut them out, you get the idea. So once they're cut out, I'll have something that looks like this. So my eyes are gonna get glued on the top here. I literally need one little dot, that'll do it. Go ahead and do both sides. All right, and then I can put my eye on. Put my other eye on. All right, my lizard guy's looking pretty cool. And the last thing I can do to glue my tongue, I'm gonna fold down a little tab at the very end of the tongue, so not the pointy side, but the side that's flat. I'm gonna put a dot of glue on that tab, and I'm gonna put it all the way at the back of my mouth, and I'm gonna press down. Okay, so now my lizard's got a tongue. Now I'm gonna wanna hold this for a minute. So count to 30 while you hold, but you get the idea. Your lizard has a nice lovely head and he is ready to go. Okay, so my head is complete, my body's complete. I need to attach these. Miss Anton's gonna help you with this. The easiest way to do it is to just use hot glue. So I'm gonna come around and I'm gonna put hot glue around the triangle part of your lizard. And then we're gonna stick his head on the back there. That's just the easiest way to do it. That's really the only part I'm gonna help you with. All right, so now my happy little lizard is attached. And he's good to go. Now I'm gonna make arms and legs for my lizard. I'm just gonna cut them out from a piece of paper. I like to use the same color as my head so my lizard matches, but it's up to you. So you're gonna find a piece of scrap paper. To make this easy for me, I'm going to fold it in half first. Then I'll draw my lizard legs however I want them to be. These need to be big. Do not do little bitty stick tiny legs. You want some big thick legs. After I do that, when I go to cut these out, because my paper's folded, I'm going to end up with 4. So I only had to draw 2 legs, but I'm going to have 4 legs. So work smarter, not harder. All right, I'm going to cut kind of quick here so you can see. All right, so I've got 2 legs. Now I'll cut out my next one. And guess what I'll have? 2 more legs. All right, so if you cut right on the fold, you'll notice, oh, they're stuck together. No big deal. Okay, so now I've got all 4 of my legs and they're ready to attach to my lizard. And to complete my lizard, I am just going to glue his legs to the under part of his belly. So I'll put one on there and I can get in here and hold it down. So 1, and 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, get the idea. Once I've got my legs glued, I need to let him set for a minute before I automatically pick him up and start to play with him. I know he's super cool, but you're gonna want to let your glue dry for at least a few minutes before you pick him up and start shaking him around and doing all this stuff. But in general, here's our fun little lizard guy. Pretty cool, right?